Hello, everyone. Today, we're diving into China's aging population and low birth rate crisis. China, known for having the world's largest population, is facing a dramatic shift in its demographic structure, and it's become a major social issue. Let's break down why this is happening, how it's impacting the economy and society, and what China is doing to tackle it. Let's start with how China's population structure has changed. From 1979 to 2015, China enforced the one-child policy for about 36 years. This was designed to curb population growth, but it led to a sharp drop in birth rates. In 2022, China's total fertility rate, the average number of children a woman has in her lifetime, was just 1.1. That's one of the lowest in the world, and far below the 2.1 needed to maintain a stable population. At the same time, life expectancy has risen, and the proportion of people aged 65 and older surpassed 14% in 2023. Projections suggest this could hit 20% by 2035. So what's driving these changes? First, the long-term impact of the one-child policy. It reduced the number of people born in the 1980s and 1990s, which means fewer working-age people today. Second, urbanization and rising living costs. In cities like Beijing and Shanghai, skyrocketing housing and education costs are making young couples hesitant to have children. For instance, a study found that raising a child through elementary school in Shanghai can cost 100,000 yuan a year, about 14,000 USD. Third, increased female workforce participation. More women are pursuing higher education and careers, leading to delayed marriages and childbirth. Now let's look at how this is affecting Chinese society. First, there's a growing labor shortage. In 2023, China's working age population, those aged 15 to 64, was about 870 million, down by over 50 million since 2011. This is hitting industries like manufacturing and services hard. China's role as the world's factory is becoming tougher to sustain, as companies face rising labor costs and worker shortages. Second, the pension and healthcare systems are under strain. With more elderly people, pension spending is soaring, and some regions are already reporting pension fund deficits. Reports in 2023 warned that major cities' pension funds could be depleted by the mid-2030s. Healthcare is struggling too. The surge in elderly patients is overwhelming hospitals and care facilities. For example, in 2023, hospitals in Wuhan reported emergency rooms packed with elderly patients. On the social side, the impact is just as significant. Traditionally, Chinese culture emphasized filial piety, with children supporting their parents. But now, the 4-2-1 structure, one child supporting two parents and four grandparents, is putting huge financial and emotional pressure on young people. Low birth rates are also affecting the marriage market. A gender imbalance, driven by a historical preference for boys, has left over 30 million men unable to find partners in 2023, creating what's known as the bachelor crisis. This is fueling social tensions. So, what's the Chinese government doing about this? In 2015, they scrapped the one-child policy and introduced a two-child policy, but it had little impact. In 2021, they rolled out a three-child policy, with incentives like longer maternity leave, childcare subsidies, and housing benefits for families with multiple kids. But young people aren't biting. Many say, how can we afford more kids when we're already stretched thin? A 2023 survey found over 60% of people in their 20s and 30s have no plans to have children. To address aging, the government is considering raising the retirement age. Currently, it's 60 for men and 55 for women, but plans are in place to gradually increase it to 65. This has sparked backlash, especially from manual laborers, who say working longer isn't feasible. Another measure is expanding elderly care services. In 2023, the government pledged to build over 10,000 community care centers nationwide. But progress is slow due to funding and staffing shortages. Looking ahead, the outlook is challenging. A UN report predicts that by 2050, China's elderly population will reach 360 million, or 26% of the total population. This could drag down economic growth and increase fiscal pressures. In an optimistic scenario, technological advancements and relaxed immigration policies could ease labor shortages. But China's historically strict stance on immigration makes this unlikely. Globally, this issue has ripple effects. China's shrinking workforce is disrupting global supply chains, and a smaller consumer market is hurting foreign companies. For instance, China's baby product market has seen slowing growth since the early 2020s, impacting global brands. As China shifts toward a domestic-focused economy due to aging, international trade patterns could also change. To wrap up, China's aging population and low birth rate aren't just demographic issues, they're reshaping the country's values, family structures, and economic priorities. Young people are prioritizing careers and personal lives over traditional family models. How China navigates this crisis will shape its future and have global implications. That's it for today's video. If you have questions or topics you'd like me to cover next, drop them in the comments. See you in the next one.